Hola a todos y bienvenidos a mi cocina. Today I'm continuing on with my next recipe in my delicious Mexican inspired recipes, and the one for today is a super fun and delicious one. As you can probably see, today we're going to be making chicken enchiladas. These are all the ingredients that you're going to need. I've got some chicken breasts, butter and flour. For spices we've got some sweet paprika, smoked paprika, cumin, cayenne pepper, oregano, onion powder, salt and pepper. I have some garlic, onions and red bell peppers, cheese, tinned tomatoes, olive oil and tortillas. Today I'm using store-bought tortillas, but if you want to make your own and you want to learn how, click the card up here. As usual, a full list of all the ingredients will be in the description below. First I'm going to prep all my veggies. Just slice your garlic. Don't worry too much about getting it super thin or anything like that. We're going to blitz it all later. Next, I'm going to go and dice my onions. And finally, I'm going to do the pepper. One I'm going to dice, the other one I'm going to cut into really thin strips. Next, to help my chicken cook faster, I'm actually going to butterfly it. This just basically means you take your chicken breast and you slice it horizontally and get it as thin as possible. Kind of like this. So you just do that with all your chicken breasts. Next, I'm gonna make a nice spice blend for my chicken and for my sauce later. So I'm gonna add in all my spices into my little mortar and pestle here. And just blend it all together. It's handy to do this because I find that the onion powder in particular tends to form little clumps, so in this way you make sure that it's evenly distributed in your spice mix. Okay, now I'm going to use half of my spice mixture and coat it all over my chicken breast. After you use about half, don't be afraid to go in there with your hands and massage it all in. Make sure that all your chicken is coated. I'm also going to season with some salt and a pinch of pepper. And just rub it all in. After you're done rubbing it all in, we can clear everything away and we can start browning our chicken. We're all set up, so I'm going to start browning my chicken. I'm just going to put some olive oil into my pan. Typically for enchiladas, you only boil your chicken, but as you know by now, I'm a big fan of trying to develop flavor from the very beginning of the recipe. So I think browning the chicken and getting those also famous cherry bits and then getting them to dissolve into our sauce is going to give us amazing flavor. Okay, my oil's come to temperature now, so I'm just going to start browning my chicken. Don't worry about trying to cook it all the way through now. As I said, I only want color. I'm going to be cooking my chicken for about 2 minutes on each side. Just do keep an eye on it though, my heat is quite high, so tailor it as you need. That's some fantastic color right there. Putting my chicken back into my bowl. As I said, it's not fully cooked, we're going to continue to cook later, so it doesn't matter that I'm mixing half-cooked chicken with raw chicken. But if this really bothers you, feel free to use a new plate. Okay, my chicken is done. You can see all the delicious charriness is in the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna go straight in with my onions and my garlic to try to deglaze the pan. As usual, to help the onions to release their moisture, I'm gonna add in a pinch of salt. My onions are starting to become translucent, so I'm gonna go in with the diced pepper as well. Give that a stir. Next, what I want to do is make a bit of a roux. So I've got some butter, which I'm gonna melt. And once that's melted, I'm gonna add in my flour. At this point, we can also put in the rest of our spice mix and mix it all together. We want to let this cook for a minute or two just to get rid of that raw flour taste, and this is really gonna help to thicken our sauce. After a minute or two, we can go in with our tinned tomatoes. This base is very thick, so I'm gonna add some water to it. When you're working with a roux, you always want to make sure that your liquid is cold while your roux itself is warm. That way you don't get any lumps. Mix this through together. And as you're stirring again, feel the bottom of your pan. If you feel there's any bits stuck in there, just scrape them off. We want them to dissolve into our delicious sauce. For extra flavor, I'm gonna add some chicken stock. Let that dissolve in. My sauce is already smelling absolutely delicious. As I mentioned earlier, typically for enchiladas, your chicken will be boiled. And that's what we're gonna do right now. But to ensure that we get maximum flavor, I want some of the chicken juices to mix in with the sauce, and I want the chicken itself to absorb some of the flavor of that sauce. So I'm actually gonna cook my chicken in my sauce. So just carefully add it in. And make sure you get in these juices that the chicken has released. Do not get rid of that. You want to make sure that your chicken is completely submerged. Now all that's left to do is bring the mixture to a simmer and let it boil for at the very least 10 minutes, because that's how long the sauce will need to cook. But because we have the chicken in there, I want to do at least 20 minutes. It's good that we cook it so thin, otherwise we would have to boil it for much longer. But essentially we want the chicken to get super soft and tender so that we can pull it apart with a fork. So I'll see you in about 20 minutes. It's just gone 20 minutes. Let's have a look at what our sauce is looking like. That looks perfect. Let's fish out the chicken. You can see that my sauce is reduced very nicely. I'm just gonna give it all a quick mix. Make sure there's nothing stuck to the bottom. I did stir my sauce halfway through, make sure that nothing was actually sticking. So it is perfect. So now our sauce on our chicken is done. Next, we're gonna blitz our sauce just to get it nice and smooth. You can see we've lost a bit of the color. It's got a little bit pale. That's only because we put in a lot of air in it while we were blending it. But if you let it sit, it will kind of get that rich color back. For one final thing, which I think is gonna take our enchiladas over the top, I'm gonna make a quick cheese sauce. All you need for this is some butter, which I'm going to melt. And once melted, add in flour. And mix that together. We're once again making a roux. Let that cook for a few seconds so that we get rid of the raw flour. You don't want your roux to darken too much, so I think we're where we want to be. So next you want to add in some milk while constantly whisking. Start with a little at a time and then you can add in the rest. Once all your milk has gone in, continue to whisk and cook it until your flour becomes activated and the sauce thickens a little bit. Okay, now it's getting thick, so I'm going to turn the heat down. And you've essentially made a bechamel sauce. Nice and thick. Now I'm going to switch to a spatula and I'm going to add in my cheese. And you want to carefully fold in your cheese. And basically, we're done. That's your queso, which we're gonna put all over our enchiladas. Okay, I've got everything ready. I'm gonna very quickly shred my chicken. I've shredded my chicken. I'm just gonna season it with a bit of salt and pepper. and mix all that in. And if you want, you can take a little bit of your sauce and mix it into your chicken. I have some shredded cheese here and very finely chopped onions, so I'm gonna mix this together. Traditionally, you would use queso fresco, which just means fresh cheese in Spanish, but I don't actually know what that is, so I'm just gonna use cheddar. Finally, I'm ready to assemble my enchiladas. As far as I know, enchiladas in Spanish actually means to cover something in cheese, and I think that relates to your tortillas. You want to dip your tortilla in the sauce. You want both sides to be completely covered. This gets a bit messy, but it's the most important part. Put it in a plate, and then you can start filling. So you can take some of your cheese and onion. You can add your peppers as well. And some of your chicken. You can roll it up. And that's basically your first enchilada. I'm going to get some of my sauce also and put it first on my baking dish. And spread it around. This will help so that your enchiladas don't actually stick to the bottom of your pan. And now you can get your enchilada and put it seam side down into your dish. Like this. And you continue doing that until you fill your baking dish. They're all assembled. Let me quickly clean up and then we can just finish the toppings on our enchiladas. 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 Okay, with the remainder of your sauce, you want to make sure you put it on top of your enchiladas. Don't let any of that delicious sauce go to waste. Next, we're going to go in with some shredded cheese on top. This somehow reminds me of a Mexican lasagna. And finally, for that extra bit of creaminess, we can put our cheese sauce on top. And now this can go into the oven at 200 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. We want the top to become nice and bubbly and a little bit crispy as well. So we'll see you in 12 minutes. My timer just went off. Let's have a look at our enchiladas. And this is what they look like. They look absolutely amazing. I love the color that we've got. Unfortunately, we have to wait for 10 minutes before we can actually start digging into them, but I will show you what they look like after that time is up. It's been 10 minutes. I've garnished my enchiladas with some coriander and some chopped spring onion, so it's time to plate. I'm gonna go around the edges to kind of help me gauge where my enchilada starts and the other one ends. Oh. I'm just gonna get the other spatula. Oh God. Okay, that was messy business. Let me tidy up the plate a little bit. Gonna add some extra garnish. And I think we're ready to eat. The time has finally come to taste it, but you know me, I want to make it that little bit extra spicy. So I got some jalapenos, that I'm just going to put on top. And now we can finally cut into it. Give myself a small bite. It smells absolutely delicious. And it tastes absolutely amazing. The chicken is super moist. That sauce that we made is heaven. And with the cheesy top and the jalapenos, coriander, out of this world. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. This recipe is absolute heaven. I implore you to try it. It's such a delicious combination of all of the flavors. They all come together so well. The textures are everything. It's just such amazing comfort food. If you do try it, make sure you let me know in the comments below how you get on and give me a big thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed the recipe. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming recipes, and check out any of my previous ones. If you're on the lookout for other traditional recipes from around the world, make sure you check my traditional Irish recipes playlist. It'll be linked up here. Also, if you want to keep up with what I'm doing throughout the week, make sure you follow my Instagram. I will leave the link below. I've also been experimenting with YouTube shorts, so don't forget to check them out. With that, I leave you for this video and enjoy. Adios. The last bit got me. I have some shredded chicken here and some very... Oh, sorry.